Hey, what's up, family and friends? I really do hope that this video message meets you feeling the very best of spirit. Before I get into this video, I would like for you guys to look at this clip. I'm going to be sharing a couple of clips, or maybe 3 clips in this video presentation to bring it all home. I'll be right back. Take a look at this.
So can you kind of just dive into your experiences within the music industry and how this correlates to what everything we're seeing right now?
Yeah, man. You know, it's real. You know, we did an episode on my podcast, Truth Talks, where we talked about a secret meeting that was held in regards of the direction that hip hop would go, and because you know some of the major labels were investing in private prisons. So you know, we spoke about how they made sure that gangster rap was pushed to the forefront more than any other genre of hip hop at the time, to basically influence the youth into committing crimes and living a gangster life or a thug life or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We were all basically tricked, man. You know what I'm saying? What we thought we were expressing ourselves and getting frustration off our chest about the way we were forced to live in these ghettos and in the slums. And at the same time, they're the ones that took our lifestyles and they glamorized it. They put the lights and the cameras behind it and said, look, like this looks attractive, don't it? You know what I'm saying? But we were simply like, yo, this is where we come from. This is what we had to go through. It wasn't the fact that we were glamorizing it, because in a lot of our songs, we told people, like, you know, we glad we not living that life no more. It wasn't fun. You know what I'm saying? We was forced to live that way, but when we got up out of it, we started to try like to turn around and like do positive things. And, you know, that's one thing I feel like people need to know. It was, you know, when they asked what happened to all the conscious rappers, that's what happened to them. Because they made it a point to make sure that those kind of messages and this kind of rap music would not be acceptable to the fans anymore. If it's not violent, we're not going to push it. If it has a message, if you're trying to educate the people, we're not having it. We want them listening to strictly nonsense. Nothing that's going to be dangerous to us. We don't want any uprisings, because they understood the power that Tupac possessed. That's why they were probably happy when he was gone, because they was like, we almost had a Malcolm X on a way bigger level,
right,
behind hip hop. It would have been times 10. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, so after Tupac, it was basically like, okay, we dodged that. We need to change it, get rid of conscious rap. So what they do, let's make sure these dudes get them niggas a couple of dollars. Give them a couple of dollars, make them forget that it's even a problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what happened. They started giving us all this money, and you know, people started to it was no longer about the struggle. It was about me. It's all about me. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we at now. And that's why no messages get through the youth right now, because the record industry has programmed this way of music getting out to the youth, to where it's only one genre of hip hop that's reaching them. They've narrowed it down. You have to sound like what's on the radio right now and talk about what they're talking about in order to see any success. That's bottom line.
There you have it, straight from a vet in the game. And there are many videos out there by people who are in the industry, were in the industry, who is now exposing what people such as myself have been saying for years. People who know me, they know I've always talked about the social engineering that is going on through the music. I saw it. I saw it before I saw anyone admit or confirm it. Back then, people were saying things like, oh, you reaching, oh, you being a little paranoid. It's just music, the same way they trivialized the act of sex. Music is very, very powerful. I'm a musician, and I know the power of music, understanding the nature of reality and how the mind works. I know that music is a powerful tool that has now been turned into a weapon to program the masses in the worst kind of way. Now, music could absolutely do the opposite. It's just like a gun. If you have a gun to protect your family, you know, and you're not planning on using it any other time, it's a good thing. But if you are a criminal, a rapist, someone who is soulless, pun intended, with a gun, that makes for a very dangerous situation. So music should actually be something that we use to elevate, educate, inspire, feed the soul. This is why I love old school so much. Even when I was a little boy, I loved like old school music that my mother and them grew up with. And I loved the music that had like the old school vibe to it. Because back then you had singers and musicians who came together to create magic. Soulful music really could apply to any genre. But of course we know that particular term or genre, the African American community cornered that category, that particular area. However, that does not mean that soul cannot be or has not been infused in other genres of music. So soulful music essentially is creation that comes from the soul. It comes with clear core intentions. It comes with creativity. It comes with harmony. You have people who put intelligence and clear intentions into the music. People who brought their life experiences to the music, but they were clever enough that even if they were talking about music of an adult content, they would use brilliant lyrical content and metaphors so that if a child so happened to hear it, the child would not get it, but the adult who has a more developed state of consciousness and mindset would happen. Music started becoming more and more computerized, less use of real musicians who played from the soul. They started putting the focus on how a singer look and how sexy they are and how raunchy and low vibratory they can be in their presentation above the voice. It essentially became very, very cookie cutter, very manufactured, very surface. The focus became less and less and less about the art, the integrity of the music, and more about sex and looks and the superficial.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions, its name's been changed since then. I'm not even sure what to call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is owned by the Lords of London. You can track it all back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. Crosby, Still, Nash and Young. I saw David the day before Christmas last year, talked with him. I got him away from this witch that he had with him. He told her to go shopping. We were in West Hollywood, and I was witnessing around to people I knew. We went off in his store, and we started talking. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I'll have to explain some of this when I'm done, because you're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. I'll explain what that means in a minute. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He says, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. I said, thank you. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master is cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies. Behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar setting in the north of the room and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. As I tell many Christian parents, you can go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. If that's too hard for you to believe, I'm sorry. That's why they do it.
Of course, as you can see, this is a very dated footage, but the practice is still very real. It is still going on. Now, back in the day, the masters were reel to reel, but now everything is digital. Now, you have to stop and ask yourself, why is it that these labels are hell-bent on maintaining the master? The reason why they want the masters is because once you control the source of the creation or the art, you can then put a spell in that, and that recording will signal out to all of its copies. So the master becomes the hub of the spell. Those with weak minds, those who are soulless, literally soulless, they're the most or the easiest to program in this regard. And here is why they want to socially engineer a soulless society. With all of that out of the way, what inspired me to make this video is the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion WAP video. WAP stands for wet ass pussy. All of this stuff, this raunchy, degrading, really low vibratory music is being targeted to the youth. That is a fact. And they're not using clever lyrics and metaphors to hide what it is that they're putting out. And the images speak for themselves. So when you have millions of young boys and young girls, especially women and people of color, because these women are a reflection of what they see in the mirror. This is why you see videos, and even when you walk the street, you see these girls emulating these young ladies, just as we've seen with the guys emulating and copying the males. So they're literally trying to push a slut, whore, thought culture. Now, to the females who think, oh, what's wrong with that? Let me tell you, not only being a slut and thought has very, very serious metaphysical consequences, but physically, this is how so many women are having reproductive issues, having ovarian cancer, fibroid tumors, all kind of problems with their vagina. A lot of women who have attachments, I'm talking about attachments, interdimensional attachments, sleeping with all these different men and picking up their energy. Women take in energy. So if you're being a thought and a hoe, sleeping around with all these different men who are doing, Lord knows, all kind of stuff. I already under the kind of schooled y'all about what's really going on within that area. And you're just laying up and opening your legs and just defiling your body in this way. There's a price you're going to pay for that. A lot of women end up having children with guys where there's no love, no intentions of having a baby or having a family or marrying or anything, and you're procreating with someone who is vibrating on a very, very slow, dense energy, and your portal, your vagina is essentially being used to bring in more lowly spirits. This is another reality that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. You're procreating out of lust, under the influence of drugs and alcohol, or under the influence of trying to get a check, chasing material things. You don't think that what you conceive in that state, you don't think that's going to be something that's not so good in the long run? Because remember, the vagina is a gateway. It is a portal. And so when a woman is vibrating and behaving in this way, she is essentially opening her gates to low vibratory spirits. So we have soulless beings running the world, trying to terraform the planet to their liking, and they're also trying to socially engineer the consciousness of the planet to bring in more soulless beings as they try to wipe out and get rid of the soulful ones. And they're using music as a prime mean to do it, because everybody loves music, everybody listens to music. Now, before I go, still on the wet ass pussy video, I want you to watch this video of this young lady, and then I'm going to give my final say. Check this out.
Always been my passion to rap. A while about to say, but as far as this music stuff, I won't be doing this music stuff anymore. I started this because this was my dream, and you know, I wanted to make sure I could get me and my kids out the hood. It's always been my passion to rap. A while ago, I had signed a contract, and I didn't know nothing about the business or this game out here. And just right now, I'm realizing that I signed my soul. I sold my soul to the devil. I signed myself to the devil. I don't even own myself no more. I sold my soul to the motherfucking devil, and I done prayed. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. You know, it's just like, I don't know if God can get me out of this, you know, and it's just like to the point where I don't even know, like, I can't. I just want to say I'm sorry to my fans. I know y'all love me. I know y'all believe in me, but I can't.
Now, as you can see, this young lady is clearly very distraught. She's realizing what is really going on in the game. She's scared. But this same young lady is in the wet ass pussy video. She's one of the dancers at the end. That's her in the upper right hand corner of this photo. She's in the video. The very same young lady who no more than a year before was talking about how she sold her soul and how she didn't want to do it. She was hoping God can get her out of it. But clearly she signed that contract. And so now she has to play ball. And there you see it. Now, tell me, why would anybody look at that, see this young lady who's clearly dropping hints that something is very sinister is afoot with this, and she's in the very same video that's being pushed and promoted. It's probably one of the highest, most seen video in a daytime in history. I mean, that video got like 40 million views in like less than 24 hours or something like that. Now, here she's literally confessing and pleading her heart out, talking about her signing a deal or making a deal with the devil. But here she is in the very same video that's promoting being a slut, being a hooker, and being loose with it. You guys gotta know, this is not a good thing. This can't be a good thing. So mothers and fathers who give a damn about their children, you guys need to start getting on your A game and educate your children. You have to teach them about this. I'm looking at this like, how can people not see it? We have to, as a people, as a species, we have to start really giving a damn about the children. The reason why the world is screwed up and why we have so many problems is because there were a lot of children traumatized, misled, miseducated, and now they're in the driver's seat. But we can turn this tide. Start looking out for the children. All right, those of you who wanted me to do a visual of the beings that I talked about in my last live, an astral projection experience, if you are interested in seeing the recreation of the beings that visited me, by all means click on the link in the video description box or in the comments section, and there you can see what I was describing in that video. All right, that's it for me. I'll be back